Oh, how are we, lads?
Hey.
Yes, g'day. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Welcome to the Rugby League Breakdown Podcast, episode number 26, the second last one of the year. There'll be one more episode next week. Obviously, I'll be reviewing the Grand Final with everyone and might even talk about the Super League Grand Final because there'll be nothing else to talk about by then. But hope you guys are all well on this Wednesday night, 6:05 p.m. I was waiting for someone to mention about Trev, but let's get into it. Trev is a special guest tonight from Shut the Gates. He's been on here about 1,000 times now. Trev, mate, how you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me back. Honoured to be here for Grand Final week.
Mate, it's good to have you on for Grand Final week. Obviously, none of our teams are in the Grand Final this year, but it's good to see that there's an all-Sydney Grand Final up in Queensland at Suncorp. Could move to Townsville yet, depending on what happens in Queensland, but mate, it's good to have you on the show tonight. And Sam, mate, how are you today?
Yeah, very well, mate. Thank you for asking. Keen to get stuck into it with the boys.
Sounds good. Lorenzo, brother, how are you?
Yeah, mate, good. I'm looking forward to getting through the second last podcast of the year. Should be good.
No, it's going to be a good show, and I can see the chat's going absolutely berserk. If I don't respond to your comment or put it on the screen, I'm sorry. There's that many fucking comments here. I can't even keep up. But got a fair bit to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the drug scandal. Rhys, Walsh, Brendan Smith, Cameron Munster, they're all doing something. It's not a good look for the game. We'll talk about that. We'll rip into Blake Ferguson. He's going to be going to rugby union, which I'm not really a big fan of. But the Dally M system, we'll talk about that as well. A couple of players, were they robbed of being in the Dally M team of the year? And we'll talk about, does the NRL have a HIA problem? It seems that a few teams are getting head knocks, but they're lying and going back out in the field. But make sure you guys go ahead, like the stream. Be nice as you can to each other in the live chat. I know there's been a few arguments there lately. And go and subscribe to this channel. Go subscribe to Shut the Gates. Go subscribe to Sam and go subscribe to Pro Enzo Vids. If you don't do it, like Trevor said a few weeks ago, something bad might happen to you. You never know.
We can't help it.
Exactly. If you don't like it, even if you dislike it, then I think you're an absolute dead shit. But make sure you like the stream, guys, and sit back and enjoy the show. But let's just rip straight into the show, lads. And we're going to start off with our top 5 favourite grand finals. So it doesn't have to be like the best quality game. It's just your favourite grand finals that you've seen, that you've watched, that you've enjoyed over the years. You can go back to 1988 if you want to, 1984. I don't care what year it is, just your favourite grand final. Let's go to you, Sam, first to start off with. Your top 5, mate, from 5 to 1.
1991, where Penrith defeated Canberra. Really good stuff. And Penrith versus Sydney Roosters in 2003. I think that's a classic game as well. 2019, Canberra versus East. I thought that was a high-quality game. And 2016, where Cronulla versus Storm occurred. And the big one, obviously, 2015, Cowboys and Broncos.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty good list. What made you choose the 2003 grand final, mate? Penrith and Roosters. Did you really enjoy that game?
Whilst it was a rain-affected contest and there were a couple of errors, I just thought the intensity from the outset, from the very first kickoff, was there pretty much for 75 minutes, and then Penrith sort of ran away with it. I have very fond memories of that grand final, sitting around with me mum and just sort of basking in the glow sort of thing with her. Very fond memories of 2003.
Well said, mate. Good list. Everyone's saying 2015 in the chat. I'm not surprised to hear that. Obviously, I'm going to say that in my top 5, but let's go to Trev. Mate, your top 5 grand finals.
Well, the favourite one that I was there live was the 1910 grand final. No, I'm kidding. It was we'll just go my favourite grand final of all time, 97, Newcastle versus Manly. That's my favourite, without a shadow of a doubt. Number 2, geez, I tell you, probably for the best game of footy 2015. It was just a great game of football, although, not personally connected to it. Another one would be, I was at the 2014 grand final, seeing South win, after, 50 odd years, 56 years, I think it was. That was a cracker. I did love the 03 one with Penrith. That was also a really good one, but also love the 04 one with Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And just another one, the Sharks 2016 was also another cracker as well. All just great games, great contest, and just teams that haven't won it in a long time. Besides, obviously, with Newcastle, they won it for the first time in '97. I've never seen my team Parramatta win one, but that'll shoot to the top of the list as soon as they eventually win one in 2073 or something like that. And it'll be, I can't wait.
2073.
It won't be that long. It won't be that long.
You will win one eventually, surely. Surely
I
the
hope
drought
so.
will break soon. I mean, everyone's breaking their droughts now, Cronulla's was like 50 years. St. George's like 30-something. South was what? I don't even know, 40-something. Paris is like what? What's their streak at the moment? What, 86?
Well, it's 1986, so it's 35 at the moment.
It'll break eventually.
Well, it's got to.
Hopefully.
Otherwise, the comp's done. Otherwise they just,
Just blow it up.
I hope
Yeah. Let's start a new Super League, 15 Parramatta's. That's all we can do. They'll
All
probably still
right,
lose.
Lorenzo, mate, what's your top 5?
Yeah, so from 5 to 1, I'll go from Storm versus Panthers last year, only because I was in attendance. I mean, the quality of the game wasn't great, but that was my first grand final I attended, so I got to add it somewhere, I reckon. Number 4, Manly Sharks versus Storm 2016. Gritty game. Good to see Sharks break the drought of the premierships. Number 3, Manly versus Warriors 2011. Look, obviously I'm going to be a bit biased here. Manly winning the grand final, and it was an underrated grand final as well. I think actually, just seeing how it all was. Number 2 has to be Cowboys and Broncos. I think 2015. Absolutely love that game. Just the ending of it all was pretty much hectic, and that's in the top 5 for sure. And number 1, the one and only Manly v Storm 08. I can't leave that out. Honestly, just seeing Storm get flogged is the most satisfying thing I think for everyone. So that's my top 5.
Well, when you said Melbourne versus Penrith last year, I almost passed out, but you said you're in attendance, so that's a fair enough reason. Watching the game live on TV, such a fucking shit game. I'm glad this year Melbourne are not there, because we always seem to get those games where Melbourne get out to a big lead and everyone just wants to fucking drink themselves to sleep. But my top 5, number 5, I'm with you, Lorenzo. I think Manly Melbourne. I love 2008 Manly winning 40-0. I know Melbourne didn't have Cameron Smith, but I don't care. Beaver scoring his last game for Manly, so that was good. Number 4, 2004 grand final, Bulldogs and Roosters. Love that game. Tough, low-scoring game, and a massive try-saving tackle at the end there, which was a massive play of the game. I love that 2004 grand final. 2016 is number 3 for me, Cronulla versus Melbourne. Great moment. Cronulla winning it for the first time in their history was fantastic to see, although Melbourne at the end nearly stole it, which would have broke everyone's hearts in the crowd. Number 2, I love the 2010 grand final where the Dragons beat the Roosters. I love watching that. Obviously, my dad's a big Dragons fan, and at the time, I was only a young kid. To see his team win the comp and just the moment itself, I thought it was fantastic. Wayne Bennett doing his magic once again. And number 1, obviously, 2015 grand final for me. It's a no-brainer. But that's my top 5 for my favourite grand finals personally. I also want to give an honourable mention to 1974 Manly versus Cronulla. I watched that game on Fox League a couple of weeks ago. It's one of the toughest games of football I've ever seen. Back then, the rules were so different. Such a tough game. I really love that 74 grand final between Manly and Cronulla. But that's our top 5 grand finals. So let's move on to the topics now. So topic number 4 now. It's something that I don't think many people will want to talk about, but it's obviously something that's going on right now. It's about Rhys Walsh, Brendan Smith, and Cameron Munster. Drug situation. There's videos, there's photos. It's all over social media. I don't think the NRL have made a decision yet on what the suspension will be or the fine. We'll start with Rhys Walsh. Trev, what were your thoughts on hearing about this Rhys Walsh in possession of cocaine?
I don't really care about them, to be honest. They're just dickheads for doing it. But to get caught, we all know they do it. They all do it. We all know the clubs know they do it. Everyone knows they do it. It's just their friends who they hang around who are taking the videos. Rhys Walsh was just stupid enough to do it in public.
Fucking idiot. Absolute fucking idiot. And the thing that annoys me the most about it, he's like 19, 20 years old. He's already a father. He goes out, does something stupid like that. Was a chance for Rookie of the Year, although I don't think he was going to win it anyway. And he may have just... I don't think he'll get banned for a long time, but I think his reputation's really hurt now.
I think he should have still won Rookie of the Year. I don't think just because something like that happens off field, you shouldn't be shouldn't be taken off from all your on field stuff. Like he's still worked all year, played most of the year, and I think he has been clearly the Rookie of the Year. You'd say maybe Sam Walker midway through the year, but he fell off pretty hard. He fell on the bench at the end there. That's true. Dane Laurie played most of the year, but he was injured for the last 6 or 7 weeks, which really does hurt your chances coming into these awards. But I think clearly Rookie of the Year, no matter what. It's all a PR move. The clubs don't really care about that these players are doing this. It's just about the look. It's all the look.
Yeah. I think Dane Laurie was actually a really good chance until he got injured as well, because I remember, I think he played like every game for the Tigers, and every game he played, he was a 6 out of 10 or better every week as well. So
yeah, he was my pick.
The Tigers was shithouse all year, we know that, but he was playing really well in a team that was very average. So I think, Sam Walker, Rhys Walsh, toss the coin, go with what you like there. But, I think, well said. Sam, what did you think about the Rhys Walsh drug situation getting caught?
I think a little bit of credit needs to go to the Warriors and himself, Rhys Walsh, for coming out on the front foot, owning up to it, and just squashing it immediately. That would have been very tough for him to do. And Trev, mate, you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. I agree with everything with what you've just said. We all know that they do it. Toby Rudolph from Cronulla was hanging out with him that night as well, and we don't know if he's going to be asked a question.
Kevin Proctor was there too, that no one knows about. Proctor was there.
Kevin Proctor as well.
Oh, geez, he's a well-known, isn't he? He done it with Jesse Bromwich back in 2018?
Yeah, 2013. 2013, they were both out the front of Canberra's gay nightclub. Canberra's gay nightclub in 2013, they were caught on cameras doing a deal, Proctor and Bromwich. Yeah, I was there. No, I just remember it happening.
You were the deal?
Well, yeah. Rhys Walsh, man, I think he probably should have. See, I agree with Trev to the point where he should have probably gotten Rookie of the Year if he was eligible to, or if he was about to get the Rookie of the Year award, because he had an electrifying year, man. He had a sensational year, and Sam Walker did drop off. So, yeah, dude, Trev took the words right out of my mouth.
Well, if you remember a couple of years ago, I think Jermaine Asako got Rookie of the Year over Victor Radley, but we all know Radley was the best rookie that year, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but what did Radley do, though, to not earn it, though?
He got suspended twice, which pretty much ruled him out. But he was obviously the best rookie that year.
That still goes off the Dalian points, right? Does it still meant to go off the Dalian points?
Yeah,
is that like every other award?
Yeah.
Then it shouldn't have affected him at all. Like if it's Rhys Walsh, really.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think
Lorenzo, mate, do you have the same opinion, or are you a bit different? Do you think he should get a long suspension, or do you think he should get a harsher fine? What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, look, I spoke about this in the podcast on Monday, on my podcast I own, obviously. No, look, he should get a long suspension. I mean, anyone who does cocaine, should obviously suffer the consequences. How long he should miss? I reckon approximately 15 and 20 weeks at least. I think that's a pretty fair length of time missing, in my opinion. I mean, we've all said it as well. So I think that's fair. But yeah, look, obviously not good for the Warriors, but and not good for himself because obviously he's a father and he's young and that, so it's not good for him and himself. But yeah, look, I mean, I guess it's good that he came out to the media and admitted his mistakes. Not many people would have done that, or players, but he did, and he took obviously, he wasn't a coward or anything, so it's good on him for coming to the media. But still, he's in a heap of shit. So I don't show any remorse for him for what he's done.
Fuck.
Do you think Munster should be getting a bigger sentence or a bigger, harsher penalty than Brandon Smith and Reece Walsh since they're like first time offenders basically?
I think Munster and Brendan Smith. I think it's hard to say because like Reece Walsh admitted to cocaine and that's what it was. But was Smith and Munster's cocaine as well?
Oh no, it was just sherbet, mate.
Oh, okay.
It's still allegedly. It's still allegedly, and look, I'm pinching off of NRL 360 from Buzz Rothfield that they're not actually revealing what it was by his reports. How much can you trust Buzz Rothfield? But what he also said that Chris Lewis was a third party in that room, and that Cameron Munster could be facing $40,000 fine. Brandon Smith $25,000 fine. So those sort of numbers have been bandied about. Reece Walsh's sort of potential numbers haven't been, so that's sort of odd. But what I found mystifying and petrifying, infuriating, is that they're only at the moment facing a 2 to 4 week ban, Cameron Munster and Brandon Smith, according to Buzz Rothfield. That's fucking disgraceful if that's what ends up going down, boys.
So you're gonna be out. So you're gonna be an NRL player. You're gonna do cocaine. You're gonna get caught, and you're only gonna get 2 to 4 weeks. Fuck me. You fucking eye gouge someone, you get fucking 15 weeks. Tell me what's worse. Cocaine's
They fine them $40,000. Who cares? They don't care about the money at this stage of their career. They're going to get more money. All they care about is playing football. 2 to 4 weeks isn't really enough. But again, as we've said, it's a PR move. They don't care about the actual actions. They just want someone to look like they're doing something about it.
I think the $40,000 fine would hurt Reece Walsh because he's not on big money. That would really hurt his bank account.
He's on $400,000 a year still.
Yeah, it might hurt a little bit.
1/10 of what he's on.
Got no idea. But yeah, look, Munster and Brendan Smith, I think those two have really fucked up. I think. Look, if I get anything less than 8 weeks, I'll be pretty disappointed with the outcome. If I was in charge, I'd be giving him 10 to 12 week suspension. I said 15 to 20 the other night, but the more I think about it, probably 10 to 12 would be appropriate. But who the fuck knows what they're going to do? I mean, if Munster and Smith are not going to admit what it actually was, well then, I guess that means they may only get a small fucking suspension. And
as Proenzo alluded to before, man, Reece Walsh got on the front foot and admitted it. He wasn't a coward about it. Munster and Brandon Smith have not said a word. The Melbourne Storm have not done nothing. So, again, it's all allegedly, if it is whether or not cocaine or not. But, again, it's fucking sherbet, though, isn't it, mate? I'm really kind of I am disgusted in how Melbourne Storm have handled this, where you comparatively saw only 48 hours prior how the Warriors handled it, man.
They're probably not allowed to talk about this until the NRL has done their sort of investigation because they haven't been arrested or anything like that. Reece Walsh was arrested by the police, so he's been, true. So that sort of takes it out of the NRL's hands.
I feel sorry for the Warriors.
But really,
the Warriors.
But the way that Melbourne and that handle it, should it affect the penalty that Brandon Smith and Munster will get? Because they're being told what to do by Melbourne. Like they can say, "Oh, we want to go on the front foot," but Melbourne could be saying, "Nah, just wait on."
So what's happened to the drug tests? So if they're waiting on them they've got to that has to change now. Again, that's got to
Just drug
change
test them now. Go to their place right now and drug test them.
Absolutely. Not necessarily bash down the door, but yes, drug tests should now happen in the next week or two, sort of thing.
Politely knock on the door.
Yep, I agree.
I feel sorry for the Warriors. That's who I feel sorry for. You know, they've been away for 3 years nearly. They lost their captain Tuivasa Sheck to stupid rugby union, and now their star fullback is now in a lot of shit. I mean, it just goes from bad to worse for the Warriors. I don't know how much more they can take, to be honest. If they keep losing players.
Well, they're not going to fold, if that's what you're saying.
No, they're not going to fold, but I think it's bad signs already going into the off-season for them, because going into next year, I don't think anyone will have the Warriors in their top 8, but I think a lot of people will think they'll be competitive. But if this shit keeps going on, they keep getting players in trouble, like Reece Walsh now in trouble, and away from their family for another year, or if their families are with them, I don't have a fucking clue. But being away from New Zealand for another year will really affect them for a third year. It's probably going to happen because I think they're going to be based at Redcliffe next year. So lots of shit going on at the Warriors. So hopefully things get sorted for them soon. But let's move on from the drug stuff onto topic number 3. Now, Blake Ferguson, he's leaving the NRL. He's pretty much gone now. He's now going to go rugby union, which I'm not a fan of at all. I think it's the shittest sport in the world. I'd rather watch NHL, to be honest. He's 31 years old. He's going to go try out his rugby union bullshit. I don't think he'll be back in the NRL unless he fails and comes back. But
comes back to what?
Comes back to an NRL side, maybe for a year, then retire, which wouldn't surprise me if he fails at union.
That's why he's not going. That's why he's not going to NRL sides, because they don't want him anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if this is it for Blake Ferguson, in which it looks like it is it for Fergo, how will we remember Ferguson's career? Trev, obviously he was at your mob, the Eels. How will you remember Blake Ferguson's career?
Oh, I thought he's a pretty solid player. I think not quite Hall of Fame level, but right up there. Like, probably a tier or two below Hall of Fame. Yeah. I think he's been a great, solid player. He lost his way early, came back, and when he was at the Roosters was a super solid player, if not the best winger in the game at the time, with the best system. Went to Parramatta, was great. I actually is one of the few people that stick up for Fergo, especially his, people, criticize his defense all the time, but I still say it's not his defense. It was the coach's defensive structure the whole time. So I think he's done well. I think he's done well after that rocky start. And rugby, you get close to the ball, you make the Wallabies side these days. So he should be a dual international so very soon.
Yep, well said. Sam, how will you remember Blake Ferguson's career? Do you think he plays best football at Canberra, Roosters, or Eels?
I sort of remember him being a fair old bloody wanker. For the first 4 or 5 years when he debuted from 2009 and then until 2014. Yes, I had a quick check up on Wikipedia before I came on and just sort of, flash back to what happened. He scored some amazing tries at Cronulla, the split-legged try over the sideline. His best footy came at the Sydney Roosters. And then I really sort of turned the corner halfway through that point. He joined Parramatta. And last year I remember he went through he went through until round 17 of last year without scoring a try, and he scored that try against the Warriors, and everyone just went up in arms. So that was a really cool feel-good moment. But unfortunately, in his last ever game, the last memory I have of him is him sort of attempting to take that dive and get that penalty when it wasn't ever going to be a penalty. So, yeah, just rocks and diamonds, as it has always been for Blake Ferguson, really, mate. And he won't be Hall of Fame worthy. I agree with Trev, just a tier below. But, yeah, I wouldn't want to bloody try and tackle him or run at him, mate. He'd bloody cut me in half.
He did get that penalty, though.
The one against Penrith in the semis.
The one against Penrith, he did get it.
Oh, he did get it.
I don't blame the players for doing that at all. If the NRL are going to give him the penalties, they should be doing all they can to win. That's a semi-final. You're there to win.
But it was a bad look, him just springing up like the Undertaker.
Oh, no, it's not a bad look. To me, it's not a bad look on him at all. It's a bad look on the NRL for giving it.
Referees have got
the
no
point.
idea. They're like fucking statues, to be honest. Lorenzo, mate, how will you remember Blake Ferguson's career?
Yeah. Look, I think he's always been a solid player. He's always very reliable in terms of scoring tries. He knows his way to the try line. I think he's a consistent winger as well. Like, he's always done the job. He's always making the meters out from the 20-meter line, or like he always takes the tough carries up. Just gets the meters for you. But yeah, look, he's a decent player. Like, he's always done a fair good job at every club he's been at. I mean, at Canberra, had his trouble, like Sam said, but at Roosters, won a premiership there, and that's when he was really good. At Parramatta, he was good as well. I think he's I just think he's been a safe player. Like, he's always done a really good job in his NRL career. I think he's played for Australia, New South Wales. So I'd say it's been a successful NRL career for Blake Ferguson. Hopefully he does well rugby union, but but honestly, stuff rugby union though.
Yeah, well said, mate. Yeah, I agree. I think Ferguson's played his best at the Roosters. His first year at Parramatta was very, very good. I think he was the best winger in the game at the time. And when he first went to Parramatta, I think it was 2019, he was awesome for him that year. I thought he was outstanding. Yeah, obviously, when he was at Canberra, the only thing I remember him from Canberra was that chip and chase he did up the sideline where he beat Billy Slater. I think it might have been 2011 sometime. And I barely even remember him at Cronulla, except for that try against the Broncos in the corner. But I think he's had a pretty good career. I don't think he'll be, legend status or anything like that. But he's done well for New South Wales when he played, and that try. Obviously, you go back to that 2019 Origin series. He's the one that threw that pass inside for Tedesco, where they won the series on the bell. Yeah, the Roosters was definitely he plays best football there, but he was on a stacked team, obviously. So, I mean, if you're playing with Tedesco and Latrell and Kiri, Cronk and Cordner and all these sort of players, of course you're going to play well. But great career from Fergo. I wish him all the best, but I don't want to see him do well in Union because I can't stand Union. And I don't like it when NRL players go to Union and kill it because it's just like the rub in the face of the NRL, in my opinion.
I actually think it's a rub in the face of Union if they kill it.
Yeah, that
because like, you couldn't even get a run in NRL, but you're absolutely killing it for the Wallabies.
Yeah, well, it shits me off when I'm watching someone like Marika Korobidi or Semi Radradra who's going so well in Union, and I'm like, you were great at the NRL, and you had to go to this fucked up sport, and it shits me off a bit. But
Radradra going to Union isn't Radradra's fault though. It's the NRL's fault.
NRL fucked that up. I agree with that. But I think Ferguson's had a really good career and fair play. If he does fail and comes back for another year, I would not be surprised, but it's a matter of what club would buy him, and his price range would only be about probably 400,000 now. So if a club's that desperate that they may even try and get him, but I'll be surprised if it happens. But let's move on to the next topic now. Topic number 2 now. This is something that I had the shits with Monday night. The Dally M's, they got majority of the team right, I reckon, but they fucked up on a fair bit of it. Let's get into it. So the NRL judges, the way they do the Dally M system, I think it's a mess and it needs to be blown up and restarted again. The Dally M Awards, was anyone robbed or dudded of being in the team of the year? I'll start with you, Trevor. Do you think anyone was a bit unlucky not to be in the team of the year?
There's always people unlucky to get in the team of the year, but they count on the points throughout the year. It is like Cameron Murray's pretty much gets robbed every year. When he's not picked, he was great this year again. Isaiah Yeo just gets more points than him. It is what it is. You either fix the system or people. This is what happens every single year. You can only have one of each. Unless there's 2 wingers, 2 props, you can only have one winner a year. That's the way it is. Who would you say got dudded?
I think Angus Crichton was a bit fucked over. I don't think Viliame Kikau deserved to be back row of the year at all.
No, you can say that as well, but he got the points. I think Angus Crichton was there. But he was out for a while, Angus Crichton. He got suspended for 6 weeks.
He got suspended twice, man.
So every time he's suspended,
you got to remember
every time he gets suspended, gets suspended, you lose 3 points per game. It's there you go. You can't win it.
Yeah.
So the system's broken. The person who I think personally got lucky is, although I think he should have been right up there, is Olam. I don't think he was even in the running there for a while until Munster kicked up a stink and then people were like, oh, what? Olam's not even thing. How do you go from not even being nominated to winning the thing?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
And they go, oh, it's an administration error. Well, how many administration errors do you have? You only had administration error when someone isn't happy with the result? Is that the only time you check?
Yeah, it's a mess. Well, with William Kickout winning back row of the year, I mean, Angus Crichton did play 20 out of 25 games, but because of the suspensions, that pretty much rules him out. I think Satili Tupanua had a better year than Kickout. I think Papali'i deserved to be in the back row, so I'm glad he was there. And the other one, Olakawatu, he was a tearaway for Manly all year in a side that started so bad. I think, there's a lot of players who I think were a bit unlucky. Also, I think Joseph Manu was very unlucky. I know he played a few positions this year at fullback and the odd game at 5'8", but Matt Burton, pretty good first half of the year, pretty quiet second half of the year. I think Joey Manu probably should have been there over Matt Burton personally. What do you guys reckon?
I've never really had much of a rap on Joseph Manu, to be honest with you, and I only really noticed he was floating around until Roosters hosted Raiders up in Gosford earlier on in the season, and then I sort of saw what he was capable of, and as far as, I respectfully disagree with Trev. I think Justin Olam just runs without fear, man. He's my favourite centre, not player, but favourite centre in the game, mate. He's definitely susceptible to a couple of errors. We saw that in the prelim just this past weekend. But I think Justin Olam deserves to be one of the centres of the year. And I'm happy with Matt Burton. Satili Tupanua, I think, is inside the top 5, maybe top 10 players who make errors, who has made errors in season 2021. Kickout is probably the most contentious out of all the award winners over the weekend.
I actually agree with you. I think Justin Olam is one of the best centers right now, and I think he probably does deserve the award. I just don't think that I would like to see how that administration error is missed. If no one talks about it, does it? Who wins it?
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know.
What happens? Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm saying.
Yep, I know. Yep.
I think he has been one of the best centers all year, if not the best. I don't know how. Were they just going to call him up like, oh mate, you actually won the award. We've got it wrong. Was he in the envelope the whole time?
They must have sent it to the wrong address, and they're like, oh no, I'm sorry, you are eligible now. Sorry, wrong person. Oh,
sorry, he hasn't been in Sydney. He hasn't been in Melbourne this whole time. They sent it to your bloody house.
Oh, Lorenzo, do you think anyone was robbed of team of the year?
Look, I don't think anyone was robbed personally. I don't think anyone was robbed, but I will say that there is particular players who I did think was unlucky not to be there. Particularly, look, I think Joseph Manu is a little bit unlucky, but Matt Burton has had a great year because obviously at the start of the year, Matt Burton was playing in an unfamiliar position because he never played in the centres before. But over time, he obviously got used to that position and scored heaps of tries there, about 17 or 18 or maybe a bit more. I can't remember. But, he had a great year. So, look, I guess that's 50-50 between Manu and Burton. Angus Crichton. Yeah, I think Angus Crichton should definitely be in contention. I don't know how he isn't, but I guess like Trev said, with the suspensions and that.
That ruined it.
Like it takes the points away with being suspended. So, I guess it's fair. But look, I don't think Kickout should be there, but he's there, so there's not much you can do now. But yeah, that's why I disagree with having Kickout there. That's pretty much, yeah.
The last one I'll say with the Dally M team of the year that I was a little bit surprised about this one. Reuben Garrix had a great year, without a doubt. Top point scorer, is he? He's had an incredible year.
Yeah.
How many years in a row are they going to rob Alex Johnson of being in the team of the year? He is the top try scorer the last 2 years now. He hasn't even played an Origin game. In my opinion, he's probably the most underrated outside back in the game. Year in after year, he never gets mentioned for anything. How is he not even talked about. I know he was a nominee, so he's always a nominee, but he never seems to win it. Do you think, does anyone here reckon Alex Johnson gets overlooked way too much?
Well, this is the problem with the whole thing. Like as you said, as one of you said before, Okolatu, he was great all year. Nick, I think you said that.
Yeah, I said that.
But when you've got players like Turbo, Cherry Evans taking all the points, there's none left for him. You don't have him. You know, these people can't win these second roles of the year if they're not getting any points. It's the same with Alex Johnson. You have Latrell, you got Cody Walker, Damien Cook, you got Adam
Reynolds,
Murray. You know, you've got all these people taking all the points. If you know, there's no points left for Alex Johnston. He's he's scoring a lot of tries, but you get awarded more for try assists basically with these sort of awards.
Yeah. Do we all agree that the Dally M system just needs to be blown up and started all over again?
I'm happy with players who get suspended twice to be a thing where I don't agree with points being deducted. But if you get suspended twice, maybe 3 times in a season, you should then be not eligible to be nominated for award. There's something like that needs to be put in place. And Alex Johnson, man, I think he missed maybe 5 weeks of the season this year with some trouble, some injuries,
with a hamstrings.
And I think Reuben Garrix and Proenzo can correct me if I'm wrong. I think Garrix played just about every single bloody game this year. So I'm happy with that winger getting the Dally M.
I'm happy as well. He scored first player to ever score 20 tries and kick 100 goals. What in a season? What more can he do?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's a good point. there's something about the Dally M system that doesn't work, and the judges, all they do, you know, if I miss a game or let's say 20 minutes of a game, they'll be like, quick, let's go on NRL.com, look at the stats. You know, we'll put this guy here, and I'm like, stop looking at the fucking stats. Who cares about the stats? What's the game itself, and then judge what you think was good, you know? I've watched games this year where I'm ranking someone in the top 3, and they didn't even run for 100 meters. I'm like, I don't care if they run for 100 meters. I just watch it. I reckon I played well in this game. Everyone needs to stop looking at stats because stats don't mean everything. And
can I just say something? Sorry, mate. The Bundy chick on the comments just asks, why don't the public vote for the Dally M? I think that would be the worst idea possible because you're going to have people like from, you know, the top clubs, Brisbane, South, with the biggest fan base, not top clubs, Melbourne, and you're going to have like Parramatta and South. They're always going to be the winners because they've got the biggest fan base. You're going to have David Mead winning the bloody Dally M's if you have those people vote. You know,
what is this, 2010?
You know, so that's what I think anyway. It's got to be done by professionals, but the system obviously needs some sort of tweaking. So because I think they got the Dally M, as much as we complain about it, I think they got the decision right this year. Turbo was the best player all year, followed by Nathan Cleary, the second best player all year.
But like also, just over the past couple of years, I find that the Rugby League Players Association awards are sort of mean a lot more because the players vote for that. I think being voted by your peers, man, is a lot more honourable than bloody, for example, Paul Kent handing out bloody 3 points or 2 points to whomever. Getting points or the awards from your fellow players, I think that's probably held in a lot more esteem in some circles.
From what I understand, they the way they do the voting, I think there's a commentator and there's a journalist, and they sit down and they do it together, and then they come up with the points. Pretty sure that's how it works. I'm not
with the RLPA, because you're not allowed to vote for anyone in your own team though, right? Is that the rules?
That's right.
So that is more of a fair sort of way because these people verse on each other every week, you know. So that feels like more of a good system, but that's what the RLPA is. You know, that's for them.
And who got the Rookie of the Year? Reece Walsh.
That's
from the Rugby League. Yep.
That's right.
That is true. I do. Yeah, that is a good point. Well, let's move on from the Dally M because it is just going to drive us mad. But I think they got majority of the awards correct. But there's just a couple of them there that maybe need to be looked at going forward, I guess. But let's move on to the topic number 1 now, which is something that, Sam, you were interested in talking about this one. This is your idea. Does the NRL have a HIA problem? Our team's lying about a head knock to get back on the field. We've seen over the weekend, I think Jerome Luai had a pretty bad head knock and he passed. I think Nathan Cleary had one the last 10 minutes, but he stayed out in the field. Everyone's getting knocked in the head and they're staying out in the field. I don't know what's going on. Sam, mate, give us your opinion and your view on this.
So Trevor said a couple of minutes ago that the NRL really should be embarrassed about how they've handled one situation. I think the NRL has cracked under pressure this final series in multiple apartments, but this HIA protocol stuff to allow Christian Welch to continue playing for a further 6 minutes when he was clearly wobbly-legged, in my opinion, there's no duty of care, and the words escaping me, but it's not good enough, man. It's really not good enough. The bunker needs to get into the ear, in my opinion, of the referee and indicate that that's what's happened. It's hard because there then needs to be a sense of a good common sense feeling of momentum, the right time to pause play. It should happen within that set of 6. When a player does fall on his backside due to concussion and whatnot. I've already said my piece about staging as well. Yeah, man, I think the ability to stop play by the trainers needs to be taken out of their hands. The coaches and the trainers have abused that power for months now, man. And I'd be, and it probably will happen, but I'd be desperately. I'd be so ashamed of it if it happened again this Sunday. But something needs to get looked at over the off season as far as HIA protocols go, because it's getting exploited.
Trev, what do you reckon?
My biggest issue is with this concussion is that I'm not sure what you can actually do to without sort of ruining play, but there's the coaches. It's like sort of a. It's an honor system, right? The whole thing's meant to be an honor system. I think there might be a doctor inside when they're doing the concussion test. So I'm not sure you can actually, because the concussion test is on a computer, they have to pass before they're allowed to go back out. And I'm pretty sure there's a doctor in there with them to pass it. But the biggest issue is stopping play in the most inopportune times, and the teams that don't have the ball are the ones stopping the ball. You never stopping the play. You never see a guy knocked out when his team's got the ball running downfield. They'll never stop the play then. It's always when they are defending and they need, they sort of need the break, whether it's real or not. We see that all happen too much. That maybe they need to, change the rules where there's a substitution to come back on or something like that. Because at the moment it's just the to take advantage of it, you're just using all your free substitutions.
Yeah.
Penrith were on the attack early on. I think it was tackle 2 deep inside Melbourne's 10-metre defensive zone, man. It's awful. It's clear exploiting from the Melbourne Storm, and it's not just because it's Melbourne Storm. Every other bloody club has done it.
Every team does it, and they should do it. That's why you got coaches to exploit the system. The coaches shouldn't be making the rules. The coaches have got to try and break the rules.
And as you said, that's the NRL's fault. That's the NRL's fault for. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, last week in the preliminary final between South Sydney and Manly, Sean Keppie got absolutely knocked the fuck out. And he was on the ground. He got back up. He fell over again. And I'm going, well, he's fucked. He's definitely gone. And then Damien Cook was picking the ball up from dummy half. Sean Keppie literally fell in the ruck. The referee did not stop play. Manly are defending. And I'm going, I'm watching the game, screaming at the TV. I'm going, stop the fucking game. You got a player there who's clearly concussed. He's fallen over twice. He fell in the ruck. And then I think he actually came in to hold up Souths over the line. And then I stopped the game and I got him up and going, why did it take 3 fucking plays in a row to stop someone who's got a clear concussion? Keppie was like this. He was fucked. He was dead set gone. I can't believe it took that long for someone who's a clear knockout, 2 touch judges, 1 referee, the bunker in their fucking ear, and they still couldn't stop the game. It was ridiculous.
They have the ability to stop play. They have the ability, but they're too scared to make that call until the trainer comes out and says, stop play, stop play. They don't have any confidence to make that quick decision.
I would have been really mad if they had scored off that play too. I would have lost the fucking. No,
but this is up to the Rabbitohs to take advantage. They should have been running at Sean Keppie. They should have been going for him. They had to try and run at him because he was clearly in a daze. Because the problem isn't them stopping play. It's stopping play while the Rabbitohs were on the attack, 10 out. But and then when they stopped play, the Manly trainer had him on the field for 5 minutes doing a concussion test. He's clearly knocked out. Get him off. But he's just doing it. He's doing it so his team gets a rest.
Yeah, but I think the obvious ones, they got to go straight away. Like the obvious concussions, stop the game. I don't care who's on the attack, who's defending. Kepi fell over twice. He fell in the ruck, and I'm going, fuck me. How much more obvious do you want to see someone knocked out? You want to cut out this like dead or something? He was completely gone. That was the most obvious concussion I've seen in a few weeks, I reckon. Probably all year.
But again, these are men playing. These are men playing. Yeah. We can't, we can't wrap them in cotton wool.
You can't.
You have to let them play. It's then the Rabbitohs aren't going to hurt him by, they're not going to try and hurt him. They're just going to try and get around him. Basically, they're not going to run at him.
I'm pretty sure when he was running back, Souths were running to the right side and they came back to the left. And then Sean Kepi made the tackle on the legs. And then I think 2 or 3 Manly players held him up in goals. And I'm going, Sean Kepi's got a dead set concussion. Somehow gets involved to stop the try. You tough son of a bitch. I can't believe
it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of South Sydney players. But if play did get stopped as soon as it was clearly evident that Kepi was out and wobbling around, if play got stopped, I don't know, there's an honour system, as Trev said, and maybe some sort of integrity system as well. Like I think not system, but I don't know, man. You'd be mighty. I don't know. You'd be pretty harsh to say, "Oh, you've stopped momentum. You've robbed us of this." When clearly Kepi needs help. He really needs help. Whereas Christian Welch, man, he played a further 6 minutes. So yeah, run at him.
It was very
run
dangerous.
At Christian Welch for sure, man.
Fucking dangerous.
My biggest issue with that Christian Welch one is that the trainer did stop the play and the player didn't come off.
Yeah,
by the law, you have to come off if the trainer stops the play. And he didn't come off, and yet we've heard nothing of it because it meant nothing to the game.
Well, that's the thing. If Christian Welch, like you watch the game live, you see him get knocked, you're like, all right, he's got a concussion. Trainer says he's all good, and you're like, he'll be off in 3 minutes because the camera doctor man will look at it, and that's it. But Lorenzo, mate, before we move on, what are your thoughts on the HIA problem? Is there a problem, or do you think everything's going all right? What do you reckon, mate?
No, there's absolutely a problem. I think it's definitely a big issue in the game right now, how it's all been handled. I think, everyone made valid points. I mean, Trev made a good point about a couple of things and that. So, yeah, look, I'll just make it quick and make a quick forward about it. It definitely needs to change. It's ridiculous and not good.
Yeah, good point, bro. Anyway, let's get into the grand final preview. But before we,
hang on, can we just say that Fogarty got released by the Titans? That Daniel
that's
Sexton
what I was
just
going to say. Daniel Sexton in the chat says Fogarty got released by the Titans. Now, I heard a little rumor that the Titans were going to do a swap with Canberra, Fogarty to Canberra, and Hodgson to the Gold Coast. That's the rumor I've been hearing all the last couple of days. Now, if that's the case, that's very weird. Why would you get rid of your halfback?
Well, not just their halfback, their captain.
For fucking Toby Sexton.
Toby Sexton was fine. The couple games he played. I don't know. Maybe that's Daniel's brother for all we know. For all we can see right there. But yeah, he was completely fine the first couple of games. He's just like a rookie coming through. I actually love that trade for both teams, to be honest. If that's the way it is. I agree. I think Hodgson needs to get out of Canberra. I think Hodgson going to Titans. The Titans need a hooker bad. They just signed Aaron Booth. I think maybe he'll regret going there if that's the case. Yeah. And then you've got Fogarty going to Canberra. They need a halfback. Sam Williams doesn't cut it.
It's a win-win.
He couldn't cut it at the Dragons when they were shit.
Yeah. I don't want to give any spoiler alert predictions for this, but I'm just saying if the Titans' spine next year is going to be Jaden Campbell, Brimson, Sexton, and Hodgson, I can't see that spine making the 8. I'm just saying I can't see it. You get very young halves combination. Sexton's not really proven in first grade. He's had, 4 games. Grimson hasn't played 5'8" since he was a junior. There'll be a lot of question marks, but they should be around the same.
They could have Cam Smith. They could have Cam Smith, Andrew Johns, Darren Lockyer, and Billy Slater in that spine, mate. You'd still say Titans wouldn't make the 8. Just a little lack a little experience for me.
Yeah, a little bit of inexperience. Yeah, I'm with you. But what do you guys reckon about that Fogarty's going to the Raiders? Fuck. Sam?
Renzo?
Or someone?
You go first, Tim.
Yeah, well, we said last week, or it was apparently broken last week, that Fogarty was set to get swapped here on the Breakdown podcast, and now this week it's happened again, sort of thing. Until it's concrete and until I see it, then I'll believe it. But if it does end up eventuating Hodgson, and as Trev said, man, it's a great swap. It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's on the Queensland. What's it called? Peter Bedell's reporting it.
Oh, Pete. Yeah. Well, he's a trustful source, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all right.
I look forward to being that debunked in 10 hours.
That's exactly what happened last week.
Good on you, Pete. Exactly. He's trying his best. Yeah,
anyway, Josh Hodgson's career is going backwards by going to the Gold Coast. But anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll see. Let's move on now. Let's get into the grand final preview, fellas.
Yeah,
Fucking going to be a great grand final this weekend. An all-Sydney grand final up there at Suncorp. Unless it moves to Townsville, depending on what happens in Brisbane. But at this stage, it's still going to be at Suncorp. I hope it's at Suncorp because I think it'll be a better atmosphere there. I'm hearing it's sold out at Suncorp, so should be great actually. But let's get into it. So the 2021 NRL Grand Final was on Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. New South Wales time. I think it's 6:30 in Queensland. I think that daylight savings is beginning this weekend. It's the Panthers and the Rabbitohs. The Panthers are $1.70 favourites. The Bunnies at $2.25. Nice price there for the Bunnies. No Pangai Jr. for Penrith. He's out with an injury. So Spencer Linu comes in. And Moses Leota makes his return from injury, which I believe... Who the fuck misses out? No one, because Pangai's out. Okay. And for the Bunnies, well, they're pretty much 1 through to 17. Tane Milne's still not there. Everyone was talking about Jackson Paulo being dropped out last week, but Wayne Bennett stuck solid and went with Paulo, and he did a pretty good job. Panthers South's grand final is going to be good. Looking forward to this game. Let's go around and go through some predictions here. We'll go first try scorers, anytime try scorers, and Clive Churchill medal winner. We'll start with you, Trev. Who wins, and what do you reckon about the Clive Churchill medal, first try scorer, anytime, and I don't know, margin of the game? What do you reckon?
Well, this is, again, it's a flip of the coin job. The Panthers, they played well the last couple of weeks, but South beat them 2 weeks ago. But then again, can a team get beaten, get 50 put on them, and still win the comp? It's never happened before. Is this the year to do it? You just don't know. It's a coin. On Sportsbet, when it was announced on, whenever Penrith won, Sportsbet said that Penrith were $1.30 to Rabbitohs $2.60, and look, it's come right in. Maybe since Tavita Pangai's been ruled out. We've seen Dylan Edwards in a moon boot today. Maybe a bit of fun and games for the camera. Same with Toto. I'm sure they'll both play. I'm going to go with South. I think they're in the perfect run at the moment. Like, they're just playing. I just don't think they can be beaten this weekend. I think they'll win 20 to 12 or 20 to 14, and I think Clive Churchill will be either Adam Reynolds or Cody Walker. More likely Cody Walker for performance, and you might have Adam Reynolds because it's his last game. They always like giving it sentimental value. 2015, JT didn't deserve it, but still got it.
True.
And then you've got, but then also first try scorer. I'll go pretty risky here and go Alex Johnston, the $1 favorite to get there. But yeah, I got to go for the South one because I'm going for him. But it could very well be kick out for all we know.
Yeah, could be.
So it's going to be a tight one. I think the forwards are the big battle here. I actually think South are going to win the battle of forwards because they've been playing. They were underrated at the start of the year. Penrith probably still do have the best forward pack in the comp, but I think I think South's just got the confidence and momentum at the right time of the year.
Yeah, well said, and I like your predictions. I think they're very good. We'll go to you, Sam. Mate, who wins this grand final? Give us first try scorer, margin, and Clive Churchill medal, mate. Who what do you reckon?
Well, that's who I'm going for, first of all. I'm going for the Panthers to win
Going for a
18
dead
points
Panther.
to 10, 1 to 12. And I think if Penrith win, it'll be Nathan Cleary that will get the Clive Churchill medal. If South Sydney win, I think Cameron Murray will walk away with the Clive Churchill medal. First try scorer for Penrith. I'm going to go with Matt Burton, actually. I cannot wait to see the battle between him and Campbell Graham. I think that's such a juicy contest. Yes, attack versus defense. And I mean, I really can't get my head around how South Sydney actually got there, because they come in and out of games. Besides the qualifying final, they've just been sort of consistently inconsistent, but they still find a way to win. They're just such a fascinating and hard try to hold to grasp of South Sydney. So, but yeah, it's a flip of the coin, but I'm going Penrith.
Yeah, all right, interesting. Should be a yeah, it's a tough one. It's a very tough game to pick. Lorenzo, mate, what do you reckon? Give us a first try scorer, margin of the game, and Clive Churchill medal, mate.
Yeah, like I'll start by saying it's not easy, and that's true. You know, it's a tough game. It's, you know, I think it can go either way potentially. But yeah, you know, I think I know there's a lot of concerns with Panthers players. Like, you know, obviously South have more of a, I guess, a fitter sort of team because they had the week off obviously before, and Panthers had a lot of games, like, you know, the Rabbitohs in week 1, then the Eagles in week 2. So it's obviously going to drain them a little bit, you know. So, but I just have a feeling that Panthers will win the game. I think Panthers will learn a lot from last year's grand final. I feel like, you know, they'll be up for it, I reckon. And that's not to say South won't be up for it, because they will. But I just think Panthers, you know, will be the better team. I just think, you know, it'll be a Cleary masterclass, in my opinion only. And yeah, I think they'll win. And just to go with my Clive Churchill medalist, I'll go with Nathan Cleary. I think, you know, like I said, he might have a masterclass, and I think he'll lead the Panthers in a man of the match performance. And my first try scorer, well, I'll go with someone safe, and that's Alex Johnston.
All right, well, 2 years are going for Penrith. Trev's going the Bunnies. I think the Bunnies win, and I reckon they win well. I really do. I reckon South will win this well. I am worried about Penrith. They have injuries, which you can't be having this time of year. Souths are so fresh. They look very good at the moment. Penrith have had 3 really hard physical games. You know, the one against Souths a couple of weeks ago was very tough. The one against Parramatta was very low scoring and tough. The one against Melbourne last week would have sucked the life out of them, would have took a lot of energy. Now they've got Souths again. I know they've beat them twice this year and once by 50, but I think Souths have a much better team than what they were then. And, you know, the Edwards injury, whether it's games or not, it's a concern. Brian Toto's ankle, is that even 100%? Nathan Cleary's shoulder looks absolutely fucked, but he'll have injections. Jerome Luai's form has been very up and down the last couple of weeks. Moses Leota hasn't played for about 3 or 4 weeks now. He's a bit of match fitness of a concern. Pangai's a big loss off the bench. Kikau's form has been mixed. A lot of question marks for Penrith. Souths have got no injuries except Reynolds has got a little niggle, but he'll be fine. Souths are looking good at the perfect time. And I think Wayne Bennett's obviously the jockey on top, riding them to victory. So Souths have got everything in their favour. Penrith have got absolutely everything going against them with injuries and shit. And I think Souths win, and I reckon they win well. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs by 20. I'm going to go 32-12, the Rabbitohs. First try scorer, Alex Johnson, because it's Alex Johnson. Anytime try scorer, I'm going to go Benji Marshall. I reckon it's his last game. I reckon he might bag a try. And Clive Churchill medal, I think Cody Walker will get it, but just keep your eyes on Damien Cook, $15. I know last week was probably the best game he's played in about probably 6 weeks, I reckon, and he was outstanding last week. And this Rabbitohs team reminds me a lot of the 2016 Sharks team. You know, the Sharks in 2016, going into the finals, their form was a bit mixed. They couldn't really beat any of the big sides. I lost to Melbourne a lot that year, and I think a couple of other teams who were very good. And they won that first final where they had the week off, and then they belt the shit out of the Cowboys in week 3, and South beat the shit out of Manly in week 3. And going into it, Cronulla were not favourites to win 2016, and Souths are not favourites to win this. So it reminds me a lot of the Sharks of 2016. But Penrith, if they win, I won't be surprised at all. But I just think to win the comp, you got to have the healthiest players, the players that are not injured. And you look at all the teams that have won the comp the last couple of years, the team that's been the healthiest and the fittest have won the comp. So I think Souths win, and I reckon they win well.
I just want to say, Souths have scored over 30 points more than any other team per game, any other team in history almost this year. And the Panthers have been really struggling to score points, especially in the final system. In the first final, they scored 6 against Souths. In the second game, they scored 8 against Parramatta. In the third game, they scored 10 against Melbourne. Do they score 12 this week?
Oh, mate, you would think that Penrith probably have the way Penrith have been playing lately. They probably have 14 points in them at most, to be honest. I can't see them scoring more than 14, but I think if Penrith are going to win, they're going to have to score 20 to win.
I get they had the win wrapped up in the bag and whatnot, but when Manly went down to 12 men last week, that's when South Sydney really dropped off in intensity and concentration. And that's something I think Wayne Bennett will definitely remind them of and say, "Oi, you let in 2 tries in this period here. I know we had the game wrapped up, but you still had that happen." And that's what I've seen from South Sydney for a majority of the year, where there's just periods in a game where 10, 15 minutes, they go missing, man. So they can't afford, obviously, to do that this Sunday against Penrith. But yeah, I'm still going to back Penrith for sure.
I completely agree with you, Sam. I think South, they do go in and out of games a lot. I think again, they had the game wrapped up. They were looking for next week. No one wants to get injured in the last 10 minutes of a prelim final, which they can, which would go with South. They had it wrapped. They were done. So, but I don't think that happens in a grand final. If you're up by 20, you go for 26. You're never safe in a grand. You're safe in a grand final sometimes, but you're playing. This is the last 20 of the year, so who cares if you get injured? You just got to win.
Yeah.
So,
I think the other concern for Penrith is as well, how much energy do they have left? They've played 3 really hard fucking games, and it's so hard to winning 4 games in a row. And it's so difficult, especially this time of year against a team that's coached by Wayne Bennett. He knows what to do. He's been in this position 1 trillion thousand times. We've all seen it. And I don't know, man. Penrith have just got so many injuries. Players, they're all playing injured. And I know defense wins comps, and if Penrith win, fair play to them, I wouldn't be surprised. But I just question how much have they got left in them. Souths look like they can go another month. They look really fresh. Penrith look really tired. So, like I said before, if South score 20 points early and Penrith are like 20-0 down, I think they're fucked. Penrith are gonna have to score 20 points to win this game. If Panthers are up 16-12 with 35 minutes to go, they're not going to win. I can't see that happening. So,
well, they kept Melbourne Storm. I know Melbourne Storm played dreadfully last week, but they kept Melbourne Storm to only bloody 6 points.
That is true, but
Melbourne did drop the ball. Melbourne dropped the ball 3 times over the line, though. If it could have been a completely different game if was it Jennings. Jennings just held him to the ball. He dropped it with 5 meters out, uncontested on the line. That was a weird defensive game there from Penrith. I think they did a lot right, but I also think they did a lot wrong. Like especially with a lot of their play, it is just how it turns up on the day. It's tough. It's a really tough one.
Yeah, look, the Panthers can win. There's no doubt about that, but they have to score 20 points because I don't think they're going to get that low-scoring game again. I don't think they're going to get it. Souths won't allow them to do it because Souths are one of those sides where they come out, they love to score early points and attack at will. And I'm telling you, if Cody Walker's on, which I think they will be, Cody Walker can do anything. And I think this is his opportunity because you have a look at it. Souths don't win this year. They're probably not going to win for next another couple now that Reynolds is leaving. And I think they'll still be a good team next year. But if they don't win this, I don't know when they're going to win the comp again.
Would Souths be heavier backed or even favourites if Latrell was playing?
I think it'd be about $1.90 if Latrell was here.
Okay.
I think it'd be even.
Would that be a better team?
I'd just
Would that be a better team?
If Latrell, because whilst Blake Taff has had some really nice touches for a young man, Latrell's power and strength, man, is undeniable, and I probably would change my tip if Latrell was playing this game.
Yeah, it's crazy because when Latrell played against Penrith early in the year, they got flogged by 50, and then Blake Taff plays, and they win 16. They win 16-6. It's so crazy. Put on a beautiful ball for Johnson on the left hand side the other night as well.
Love Alex Johnson. I'm going to back him for a double on the weekend. Let me see what that's paying on Sportsbet. Here we go.
About $1.03. You got one for $1.01.
Alex Johnson double.
It'll be, I reckon, $2.60.
$6
for a double.
Yeah.
Jeez, put your house on it.
I'm putting 50 on that on fucking Friday when I get paid. I promise you that. Well, I can throw it on now because I had a big win on the weekend, $1,000. So I can throw it on now.
Jeez, must be nice.
Oh yeah, I had a nice win on the weekend. I had I chucked on a bet on the Super League. I had fucking Hull KR who were paying about $7 to win to keep Warrington to 0. And I beat them 19-0. I woke up and fucking had $1,000 on my account. I had $4.43 on it. Ended up pulling out $1,000. So I took that money and ran straight to the bank. But anyway, guys, I think that might do it for the show tonight. Thanks, Trevor, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me. I hope I was all rightly dressed. Remember to subscribe to Shut the Gates.
Oh yeah, go subscribe to Shut the Gates, or if you don't subscribe, I think you're a dead shit. So go and subscribe, everyone.
Well, you heard the man. You heard the man. I don't know.
Go and subscribe, Sam.
It's always fun
as
coming
always,
on.
thanks for coming on, boys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, man. Nice talking to you again, Trev, man.
Thanks.
Next week will be the last show of the year, but grand final preview. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, there's no referee decisions that decide the game on Sunday. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night, and see you guys in the next one.
Adios.
Have a good night, lads. Go the bunny!